Hey, I'm Deborah Anderson, and thank you for joining us for Local Flavor. We've made our way out to rural Pinokie, and we're joining Mary Goddard today, and she's going to make us some Italian food. If you haven't met Mary, you probably haven't been around very many places. I first met her getting my hair done at Charlene's Cut and Curl in Moreland. And even this summer, I didn't realize you worked so much with the Farm Bureau. Big with the hunters, and now I finally hear later on down the road how good you are with Italian cooking. So
thank you.
So I'm really excited. What are you going to make for us today?
We're going to make pasta, the basic pasta.
Just basic pasta. Okay.
Basic pasta.
Is it difficult?
No, it is not difficult at all.
Yeah, some people make everything look easy.
Well,
so.
this is very easy.
We're going to take a recipe, it sounds like, out of the book that your sister wrote. Is that
Yes,
right? Tell us
yes.
a little bit about the book.
The book was written by my sister, Fran Schaefer. She had an Italian restaurant for many years in Grand Island, Nebraska. And many people that would come into the restaurant would want her recipes. And of course, we didn't give them out because a lot of them were from my grandmother and also my Irish grandmother. And we just kept them within the family. After she closed the restaurant, she decided to write the cookbook. It's won 4 national awards.
Wow.
And for one reason, it's a little bit about our family, where we came from, and how we all loved Italian cooking. And also, her son was attention deficit, so she decided she was going to make everything from scratch.
So she could control preservatives.
Yes. So in the book is how to make your own marshmallows, how to make your own crackers, numerous things that you would generally go and buy at the grocery store, but has artificial additives and preservatives in it. And so it's quite an extensive cookbook, and I think that people really enjoy it because there's many different things in it.
I do love it. I have looked through it, and the recipes, she lays it out so easily, so it really does look like you could do it. And I love just seeing pictures of the family and the little stories about that.
Yes.
And how the name of the restaurant came from, sounded like Grandma thought that the place looked like a palace.
Yes.
So it was
Nona's Palazzo.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
So is it the restaurant on the cover of the book?
Yes, the restaurant was in the first floor, and they live in the second and third floor.
Oh.
And now that the restaurant is gone, then now the entire place is a home. It's also on the register because of the historical sites, because of the architecture of that particular house.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
This is fresh egg pasta, and this is the recipe we will follow, which was in my sister's book, and I know it by heart, so I really can close it.
Okay, I'd rather
Okay.
see the nice picture on the front anyway. That's awesome. So you must make pasta a lot, huh?
I make it a lot because for me it's easier. If I run out of pasta or something, I can make that in 10 minutes instead of going to the grocery store, which is 26 miles round trip for a package of spaghetti. And it's much better tasting, easy to make, and much cheaper.
Great.
So,
And you can control exactly what's in it. You've mentioned that you're egg
yes.
sensitive. Is that
Yes,
right?
I am, although I can tolerate this. so.
Okay, great.
I use a KitchenAid, and I start out with this mixer. It is for cakes, and it scrapes the bowl. And so I start out with this because I want everything to mix up first, and then I go with my dough hook.
Now, I recognize that as one that is on my wish list. That didn't come with the mixer. That's the one with the nice spatula
Right.
scraper ends.
Right. Oftentimes I'll go on KitchenAid online because they have absolutely every attachment to go with this machine. And so you can browse and say, oh, I would really like that. And I have Christmas presents lined up for my KitchenAid. So.
Oh, you buy them for the KitchenAid?
Absolutely.
What a great
Christmas
idea.
sweetheart.
I'd probably get more of them if I did it that way.
Okay, the pasta recipe is 2 cups of flour, unbleached flour, 1 cup of semolina flour. And I'll just put that in there.
Now, with the unbleached flour, it has a little bit more proteins in it than a bleached flour. So
Yes.
is that why you're using it? Will it firm up a little more?
It does that, but I use it specifically because enriched flour or bleached flour, they take out all the nutrients when they bleach it, and then they put them back in. And I would just as soon use the flour directly, the white flour that is not bleached. And that is my concern. I can make about anything from it. I know that some people think that it's not as light as some flours, but you can alter your recipe to do that. But I use it in this pasta. Another thing, when you make homemade pasta, you want it to be a stronger pasta, a stronger dough. Because when you cut the pasta, you want it to hold its shape instead of crumble and fall.
Exactly.
And so, and then another flour I'm using is semolina, which is the strongest durum flour, and that also adds to the structure of the pasta.
And it's a little more yellow than a bleached anyway, so you wouldn't need a bleached flour because your pasta is going to be a little bit yellow from the semolina anyway.
That's true, but I don't understand why we need something bleached. So then I take and I just stir that just a little bit. And then I add my 3 eggs.
Oh, I love that little measuring cup.
And I start mixing it. Then I watch it a little bit because it starts to get chunky. And you have to look at the dough to make sure that it's going to have enough liquid. Now I'll turn it off and I'll raise it. Make sure that all the egg is dispersed. Almost always I have to add a little more liquid, and I add water, just plain water to this.
What consistency are you looking for? Do you want it to where it stirs easily?
No, what I wanted is enough liquid that it's going to form into a ball.
Okay.
And that's what I'm looking for. And it takes a little while. And so I'm adding a little bit of water, maybe a couple teaspoons, or a couple tablespoons, I'm sorry. And now it's starting to form into a ball. And so I take this off, and I add my dough hook. Because my dough hook is what forms it into.
So we are going to change attachments is
Yes.
what you're going to do.
Yes, I am. Because this attachment won't form it into a ball. It'll just keep it in little chunks.
Now this is the one that comes with, if anytime you get a KitchenAid, it's going to come with this attachment.
It'll come with this attachment, only it doesn't have the rubber.
Yeah, it's a metal one.
Yeah, it's metal.
Now some people start to make their dough with the dough hook. Would that be okay too, or do you
Sure.
just find this a little
I
faster
find
maybe?
this easier for me.
Okay.
So whatever is easier for you. Now if you take a look at the inside of this, I'm just going to turn this off because you can see where that is starting to have like pebbles almost. And that's what you want us to see. I'm just feeling it, and I know that it's going to need a little bit more liquid.
Okay.
And so I'm going to add a little bit more liquid, and then we'll turn it on, and then it'll be done here in just a second.
But the pebbles tell us we're getting close, right?
Yes, it
It's
does.
mixed in pretty well.
Yes.
This really isn't taking that long.
Doesn't, well, if we weren't doing the show, it would be done.
Oh.
Because, yes,
Yeah, can you put it on higher?
yes,
Is there any concern about overbeating of the dough? Sometimes, you know, you don't want to overbeat some things.
Well, that would probably be on something that you want fluffy.
Like if it
nice.
has yeast in it, but this doesn't have yeast in it.
No, no, it does not. It doesn't have salt in it. It's just flour, eggs, and water. That's it.
Now, but if we wanted to put a little color in here, are there things other people add? What about to get the red or the green, the spinach pasta?
You can make a wonderful spinach noodle. You can make you can put a gorgonzola in it. You can put, which is a cheese. You can put pumpkin in it. You can do tomatoes.
And you would maybe replace those for the liquid that you're putting in?
Yes. Okay, here we are now.
If you were making the spinach pasta, I never see clumps in it though. It's just the color. How do they do that?
Well, I puree my spinach. I cook it down and then I puree it, and then it just goes in here just like as if it was part of the flour, you know. I puree it. I'm not sure how they do it otherwise. I never use artificial food color, ever.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think they would because they usually don't call it just green pasta. It's spinach pasta or a flavor. Okay.
Now,
you put just some unbleached flour there to turn it out onto?
yes. And you can see it's not totally together, but it will be in a minute.
You're going to knead it a little
this.
bit. Now, do you want that extra flour that you're rolling it in to be incorporated in? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
that's fine.
You want this to be a little bit firm?
We want a stiff dough. And there you are.
All in one piece. Now, do we start rolling it out at once, or
I
do we let this rest?
I always let my dough rest.
And
I let bread dough rest. Of course, it has to rise. I let this rest. I just think that it forms together better. And generally, I take the bowl and I put it right over there, and I let it rest for 10 or 15 minutes. Now, once you have your dough made, you can put it in the refrigerator. It'll stay up to about a week in the refrigerator, or you can freeze this. You can make a day of dough, a day of pasta, and just take this and freeze it. And then when you want it, you pull it out, and you're ready to go.
just need to get it back to room temperature?
Just need to get it back to room temperature, yes.
Okay.
And we'll go to the next step.
Okay, so while this has been resting, we have been preparing the table with all kinds of new equipment, and I had no idea how much equipment are we going to need to get this, all of this Italian food done.
Well, in Fran's cookbook, for people who want to know exactly how to prepare to fix an Italian meal, she has all the equipment you need. And for us today, you need a machine to roll out the ravioli. This, or the pasta. This is the machine that I always used to use. My mother gave this to me years and years ago.
It's a pasta roller?
It's a pasta roller, yes. But now, of course, I use the KitchenAid. It's much faster. The only difference is that every time I decide to change a pasta, I have to change the head.
Oh, okay.
This one I can roll out and then just go straight to either fettuccine or spaghetti. And also these machines have other attachments that fit right into this groove, so you could probably go
I think I've seen them even bigger with different kinds of
Yes, they
attachments,
are.
so you don't have to change anything,
Yes.
you just add on.
But you have to have muscles. You need to work on your muscle strength, and this is the one you want to use. So.
But now you use this because
Yes.
you're like your grandma and you love technology.
Yes,
New.
if it works, only if it works.
Okay.
So, but in her book, she'll tell you, like for instance, a garlic press. There's not a lot of homes that have a garlic press. A ravioli cutter, and I'll show you the ravioli cutter that I really, really like, and I have about 4 of them. And this is again technology, a new ravioli cutter. The only attachment that I would maybe not purchase for the KitchenAid is they have a ravioli maker, and you place the filling in little pockets, I believe, and then you run the dough through, and it's supposed to seal everything. I think that's a good waste of time. You can make ravioli fast, easy, just by using your machine to roll out the dough, and then using your ravioli
A little
cutter.
hand tool like it's
Right.
pictured here.
Right. Every Italian cook needs wooden spoons. I'm not exactly sure why, but you must have wooden spoons, and I have an array of wooden spoons. There's other thing like a whisk and 8-cup Pyrex bowl for measuring. We do a lot of cooking in the microwave as far as like making a cream sauce at bechamel. You can make it right in the microwave.
Oh.
And then nothing is scorched on your pan when you do it in the microwave. So that's what's so neat about this book, is that's shortcuts to gourmet cooking. And
That is the name of it,
yes,
Shortcuts to Gourmet Cooking.
That's exactly right. But if
those
we
are
want to
things
go ahead
people
and
would love.
start with the pasta, we can start doing that, and I can show you how to
Okay,
roll out your
let's
pasta.
check our rested pasta. I'm going to get this out of your way so it
Okay.
doesn't get dirty.
It's rested now. I don't know if you can tell from when we put it under, but it just looks shinier. I don't know. I just feel like, even though it's an innate object, there's egg and flour. It just rests and needs to
Maybe it
become
homogenizes
itself.
or absorbs it a little better.
Yes.
Kind of like soup gets better the longer it
That's.
sits.
I agree with that. We cut these into sections.
It looks like bread.
Then I press it down and I take a roller. This is a little rolling pin. It's one of my favorite. It's not a big rolling pin, and you use just your hands and the palms of your hand.
But you would be hard pressed to use just a rolling pin to get the pasta thin enough.
Oh,
It
you
would
know, the old Italian women and the old German women could do it. I don't know how they did it, but they did do it. And I'm not going to do that. So it takes a lot longer. I just want to do this one on this machine just to show you how it works. Then we're going to switch over to the KitchenAid.
Okay.
But this, you just run it through.
You know what this reminds me of is when I was little at the gas station, they had a giant washing machine you could put the thing to wipe your car with.
Ringer washing machine. That's exactly
We played
right.
with that all the time.
Yes.
But look how much thinner it is already. Mm-hmm. Now, but that's not as thin as I've seen it. How do you get it even thinner?
We're just starting.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this off and we're going to switch over to the big pan.
The faster one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, imagine if you didn't have that clamp to the table, that would be
Yeah.
quite a
Well,
thing
if
to
it wasn't
wrestle
clamped to
with.
the table, then we wouldn't be doing it very well. The attachment that goes onto the KitchenAid, again, is like the Ringer washing machine. It is 2 discs that have no indentations in them. And there's a little nodule here, and this just fits in, and then you tighten it. This knob here controls the thickness of the dough.
So you start wider.
You start wider, yes.
What happens if you started too thin? Does it get crumbly?
Well, if it's too much pressure on the machine.
Oh, okay.
You start wide because the machine has to get the dough thinner, so it would be very hard on the motor of the machine to put in a big clump.
Yeah.
So you can't do it that way. I'm going to run this through again, and then since I just love perfection, I'll show you what else I do.
Okay. I think she moved that back so it wouldn't go on the floor. That's weird. It does look amazing to me how it looks creamier and smoother every time it goes through.
Right. Now I'm going to fold this over again. Put it in again now, because we're showing this, how to do this, I don't have it on the high speed.
Oh, too loud?
Right, well, yes. Also, I don't like the frayed ends, and so I end up folding that over. You don't have to do this. My sister thinks that I'm wasting time. I
She
like to
trims
do
it off. And probably.
She just trims it off. She takes or just cuts the spaghetti or whatever she's doing. Whatever little pieces leave off, then they're dried and used to put in a minestrone or something like that. Nothing's wasted. Okay, see now, isn't that beautiful?
It does. It looks like Laffy Taffy.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
It does.
I put some flour on it. Now we start making the pasta thinner to the thickness that we want.
Okay.
I generally have my fettuccine a little bit thicker than my spaghetti. So we will make fettuccine first, okay?
Before it's too thin.
Okay. Well, we have plenty of dough. So I'm going to start out with 2. I'm just going to go right down the scale.
So there's numbers on these?
Yes,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
One is the thinnest or the
thickest.
the thickest? Okay.
And I'm not sure, but I think on my manual, I think it's the opposite.
Oh no.
So,
I'm just impressed with how well it presses it down so that like even where you folded it over, I thought it would be loose,
no.
but it isn't at all. Look at that. And you're still on number 2, right?
No, I'm to 3 now.
To 3.
4.
It just looks so fun. And is it sticky at all? Or
No.
you having put on that flour has prevented
Okay,
that?
we're going to stop right now because if you want to make your own lasagna noodles, you're here.
This is lasagna
This
noodles.
is lasagna. And all you have to do is just cut the length that you want
for your pan.
for your pan. You can dry them like dried noodle, but you have to dry them overnight. Or you can cut them and put them in a flat pan and freeze them fresh. And then when you want them, you can go and get them. So you can do whatever you want to. But right now we're at lasagna.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes. And it just tastes so wonderful. We're going to go to 5, and that's going to be fettuccine.
How many numbers are there total?
There are 7.
Okay.
7 would be like an angel hair pasta. Okay, you saw the piece of dough that we had.
They were all about that same size.
Yes, and that's what you get out of there.
It's so pretty.
So that's enough probably to feed a family of 4 right there. Okay, now what I do is I take my knife. I don't like long spaghetti. You know, when you buy spaghetti, it's so long, and then when people eat it, it's like it never ends. You can never find the end of the spaghetti.
Right, and
So-
then the sauce flips everywhere when you're
Yes.
spinning it on.
So I cut it eating length is what I call it. But I'll cut this in 2, and then I just take this and I'll lay it over to the side.
And you're not worried at all about that sticking to each other,
No,
right?
because I have enough flour on there.
Okay,
It won't.
awesome.
So I think eating size is about right here. So we're just going to do 3 of those.
And this is going to be fettuccine, right?
This will be fettuccine.
Oh, they look perfect.
Again, like I say, the only thing I don't like about this machine is every time I want to change a shape, I have to change the head.
And if you haven't got a KitchenAid, what usually is in the front is this little logo. You just take it out to sneak in your attachments. So
I should show you. This has the little notches cut in.
oh,
So,
they are
and-
about the width of a.
They are fettuccine noodle, and you'll see that the cylinders each have a knife, or the little circles intersect, so they virtually cut the noodle.
And I see it also. It doesn't say fettuccine anywhere on there. You sort of figure it
it's
out
just-
yourself.
Well, you know what? This would be like an egg noodle, like if you were making tuna noodles, whatever. Anytime that you're making an egg noodle, for Italians that would be a fettuccine. The wider, flatter noodle.
It does say on there, do not immerse. How are you to clean these? Do you put them in the dishwasher?
Absolutely not.
Never.
It would ruin them. I have a little brush, and you just go in and you clean out everything.
Right, because as
That's
firm as
it.
this dough is, it probably doesn't get gummed up in those little
No, and
gears.
if it does, you have to, if it gets gummed up, then what you do is you do not try and get it out, you let it dry.
Oh, and then
You let it dry, then you turn it on, and the dry pasta just falls out. So, okay, so here we are with our pasta noodles, or our pasta, the flat part. Sometimes I let them sit for just a little while, because if they dry just a little bit, they go through the machine a little better.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and turn this on.
But you wouldn't want to put them through all the way dry. That would just...
Well, it wouldn't, no, that
Or
wouldn't
just
do it.
crumble 'em.
No.
Look how pretty.
There's your fettuccine noodle.
I want to see this one. Not sticky at all, but perfectly pliant. Oh, I want this attachment so bad.
Okay, there's your fettuccine noodle. Now you can do one of three things. You can have some sauce on the oven right now, and you can throw this in some boiling water and immediately eat it. Raw pasta will not take as long to cook as dried pasta. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is you can freeze this fresh. So if you get a flat box, you line it with a parchment paper, you put this in and lay it flat, and so they're not sticking together, but these are not, but you want them not to be sticking together. And then you'll put the first layer down, cover it again, and then you can just layer that. And then
Oh, so with parchment in between?
yeah, parchment in between or plastic
And
wrap.
freeze it. And then would you just, after it's frozen, would you seal it up in something? Or just...
Well, you cover the box. Yes, you put aluminum foil or something over the top
So
of
it
it.
doesn't get the freezer taste.
Another thing, you can get very nice plastic boxes now that you can use to do that, and some of them are not very deep, so you can layer your pasta.
Oh, okay.
And that has a lid and it can seal, and then you're done. The other thing you can do is you can dry it, and then you can dry it flat, and it takes about overnight. Or how you buy it in Italy is that it's picked up and it's folded over like that,
Oh, they just do it on the table though?
and they dry it. It's dried, and then you can pick up that piece and store it like that, dried. I have some that we've already done, and this is dried fettuccine that I just bent over. That's about the serving size. So if you're going to dry your fettuccine, what you want to do is take enough so it would be enough for one serving. So you would know if you had 5 bundles, you're going to serve 5
Yeah,
people.
how did you know what a serving was? Just because you've always worked with it?
Yes.
Or, okay. Is
That-
it one width
and
of the machine?
It's more by ounces.
Okay.
And so if you look on the package of spaghetti, it'll say a 10-ounce package of spaghetti will feed 5 people or whatever it is. And so you can kind of go like that. And
Okay.
you know about how much it is. This would be enough for your first plate.
Now, if I wanted these to dry faster, what if we hung them over a rod or
You
something?
can, yes, you can. They're just a little harder to store because when you remove them off the rod, when they dry, they shrink in. And so you have that little curve there. So when you try and remove them off of the rod, you can't pick them up. You have to slide them down the rod.
I see. That
So.
makes sense. Might
Okay.
snap them.
So there we are with that's fettuccine. And I'm going to do this with it because I want to dry it like that. I'll put that back in there. This is the fettuccine dried straight. And so you can see how as it dries, it curls. It doesn't dry totally straight, it curls. But you can store it like that as well. It's not a problem. The density of this is different than a Bonton fettuccine, and this also cooks faster than Bonton fettuccine.
Even though you've dried it,
Even
still
though
cooks
you've dried it,
faster.
yes.
It does look thinner, actually. So it probably would.
So we're going to lay those down. Okay.
They probably have something in them too when you buy them that makes them.
Right. So here we are. Again, I'm going to do this.
And if I remember right, we're going to get it a little thinner for spaghetti.
Yes,
Is
we
that
are.
right?
So what do I have to do?
Oh my, we can change the roller back again.
We have to go back to this roller.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going back here. Actually, it has 8 different
8 different? Okay.
thicknesses.
I need to know. This has been on my wish list a long time. But I'd never seen them in use, so, wasn't sure if I wanted to spend the money, but.
Okay, there we are.
And we're at a 6, right?
No,
7.
yes, we're at a 6.
Okay.
This is a 6. Okay, now our third head comes out.
And did you say there's a little?
Yeah, there's a
see
little
that?
nodule, but you have to find where the
Oh,
hole is, and then you turn
the
it to
square
that. Yeah.
inside
Mhm.
too.
Okay, again, I like to have it in eating sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do 3 of these, and then the last one we're going to make angel hair. Put this over here again.
Oh, is the another attachment for angel hair? Or
No,
all
it's
like
the same spaghetti, but the noodle is thinner.
Okay.
And that cooks in about 3 minutes flat in boiling water.
Oh, it looks so soft. I think it's so beautiful.
Now, when that boils, it's thicker. It swells. And you
swells
think,
a
oh,
little.
this is too thin for spaghetti, but it's not.
Okay. Now,
That's not-
I'm wondering about the cutting head. How does it know how thin that pasta is? Does it just kind of, you know how your printer will fill for the thickness of the paper? Is that what this is doing too, or do you even know?
No, whatever the rollers, the 2 rollers, that's what they cut. They won't cut anything thicker or thinner. The thickness or thinness of the dough is what you decide.
Okay.
But if you want your spaghetti thicker than this, you can. You can have your spaghetti as thick as the fettuccine. I prefer this it to be thinner.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal preference. My sister would have it thicker than this. I'm telling you right now. But we're sisters, but we don't always like the same things. So this is the way I do it. If you want thicker spaghetti, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Again, you can do the very same thing with this as you did with the fettuccine. You can eat it immediately, you can freeze it, or you can dry it. And we're just going to go like that because I want to dry this.
Of course, I'm thinking let's just fix it immediately, but then I'm thinking down the road how much time it would save just to have this ready to go. So-
Okay, I have no marinara sauce. Say I have no marinara sauce. I have nothing, and here comes company. But I have this.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I boil that spaghetti up and I make an absolutely wonderful primavera sauce, which is just olive oil, butter, a little garlic, and chop up some veggies and saute them in there. Throw that on the pasta. It's a wonderful meal. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I love about this stuff is it's so versatile. You have this and it has endless possibilities.
Endless possibilities is correct. I remember going to my friend's house to eat. It was supposed to be this wonderful meal. And when we went in, there were about 8 of us. We went in, there was nothing. There was nothing prepared. And I thought, well, maybe I misunderstood because my Italian is certainly not all that well. But when it was time to eat, we went into a feast. And it was because they prepare things quickly, fresh. And when we were eating the first plate, they were finishing up the main course, which was a steak, and so everything was prepared, but it wasn't cooked yet. They didn't cook it until we ate it. So that was quite.
So you've been to Italy many times.
Yes.
But you learned to cook Italian before you went.
From my grandmother, my
Right.
Nonna Brazali, yes.
But you probably picked up a few more tips.
Oh,
and stuff.
absolutely. It's wonderful over there because like I said before, it depends upon what part of Italy you're from. If you go north, it's more of the cream sauces. You go south, it's more of your spicy food. So, but and I think that I told you this before that you think you have the recipe for something, but then someone else says, no, I have the recipe for that. But when it comes down to it, it's a variation of the same thing. And they might add or subtract a vegetable or a spice. But it's not, neither one is wrong. They're both right. It's just your own personal preference. Or how you learn to make it from the person that was doing it that day. That's right. Okay, now we're going to go.
You change the head.
I have to change the head. Sorry. There I was. Like I say, with the other machine, I don't have to change the head. Okay. I'm sorry. There we go.
If you've never used a KitchenAid, it's a square head she's fitting in there.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to go down very, very, very thin. This is almost translucent. Actually, you can see your hand through it.
I have to check it. Oh no, I dented it with my nails.
All right.
And this is the 7, isn't it? So you can still
This
go
is
one
the
more.
7. You could go one more.
What would someone use even a thinner one for? Maybe baklava or something?
Perhaps. Perhaps that would be. I'm sorry this is taking so long. I have to line it up with that. Okay, there we are. There's your angel hair.
I'm going to feel the difference. Very subtle. But you can tell. You want to see? This one's the angel hair. Don't shake them too hard. They fall apart.
There we are.
Okay.
There's
so
our
we've made all of this pasta just from 1/4 of the dough that we made.
That's right.
All right, so we're going to cook some right now, right?
Yes.
And what kind of sauce are we going to make?
I have a red sauce, and we can do a butter sauce too, or anything. What would you like? We'll do it. We can do a little bechamel, a little cream sauce.
Well, let's go ahead and cook some of these.
Okay.
And what do we need boiling water with
We need
salt.
boiling water with salt in it. There's no salt in the pasta. The salt comes from the water, not in the pasta.
Okay, so and if do you ever put any other flavors in the water?
No,
Just with salt? Okay.
just the salt. That's it.
All right.
I
well,
would want to say one more thing to you. See these little pieces here? I never throw anything away. That'll go into a soup or whatever. I keep all that little pasta, and we use it somewhere.
So you just dry it out until you're ready to make a big batch of soup?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it.
All right.
You don't have to waste anything.
So there we have our pasta. Thank you very much, Mary. And let's see some more possibilities and some future episodes for what we can do with this.
Okay, my pleasure.